let's just segue into that, right? The NBA trade deadline, we have a lot going on. There's a lot of people on the market, including my favorite basketball player. You think it's LeBron James. It's not. My favorite basketball
Tyrese Halliburton.
It's not. He's probably like fourth or fifth, but Dame's third. Number one is JJ Redick, and he's actually on the block with the Pelicans. And also Lonzo's on there. You got a bunch of Pelicans on there. Joe, I want to hear from you, though. You're a Mavericks fan. You guys probably need to make a deal. You need a secondary playmaker. We were talking about this on the phone today, actually. What is a trade you want to see for any team in the league, but specifically your Mavericks? Because I know you guys are going to be dealing.
Well, I mean, preferably, I want Bradley Beal.
I think everyone does.
In a perfect world, I want Bradley Beal. I mean, but we're not gonna give up anything for him.
You also probably don't have the cap for him.
I honestly hate trades when it comes to my Mavericks because of who I hear are in trade discussions and potential trades and trades we want to see and all that. And I really don't want to get rid of Kristaps.
I mean, I didn't even know that they were thinking about dealing him. I thought
they're not. People just put him in the trade block, just fans and newspapers. But I mean, the biggest trade I want to see for the Mavericks is, I think a secondary player would be great. I don't think that's the biggest necessity, though. Okay. I think you're wrong in that. Okay. I think defense is the way to go. Okay. And I think the best defender we could get is Andre Drummond.
That would definitely be a good fit. And also the big thing about that, Joe, is because Porzingis can stretch the floor, you can play them next to each other.
Yeah, I know. So we give Cleveland Brunson and I don't know, Tyrell Terry.
And a couple picks probably.
Yeah. Of course, a couple picks and get Andre Drummond. And without giving up Kristaps Porzingis, which is the big thing, and obviously Luka, I can see a great team right there. Because offensively, we're doing all right. I'm not going to say we are where we were last year, because last year we're breaking records on offense. But we're doing all right. Defense, I think we're third to last.
Yes.
Efficiency. And I mean, it's Andre Drummond, man. He's the key.
I think that you certainly bring up good points there. I think the rim protection with Porzingis and Drummond would make your paint defense ferocious. I think that would be amazing. But what about the wings? I think that's the concern, right? Because Luka's defense isn't the best. Josh Green's a good defender, and I think he even started a game or two for you guys. But Hardaway's all right on that end, but not elite. I need somebody who's going to clamp an opposing wing, because in the playoffs, who is checking Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Who is checking LeBron James? Who is checking even Donovan Mitchell? I think maybe you put Luke on him there because Luke has got a size advantage, but that's my big concern with the Mavericks. But I do like what you're thinking also about rim protection, because Maxi Kleber can play anywhere 3 to 5, and he offers a lot of shooting, and he can even swat the ball a little bit too. But is he an elite defender? I don't think he's known for that. I think you get Drummond and Porzingis next to each other, and you manage to swing stuff with the cap and everything, that could work really well. Joe, but I want to tell you one trade I really want to see here, because I'm going to talk about my man JJ Redick.
Oh.
I'm going to talk about him because he's not fitting in the Pelicans. He's not getting the looks he needs because of how ball dominant Ingram's not ball dominant, but little ball dominant with Ingram. Bledsoe's in that lineup. Lonzo's in that lineup. And then you have Zion obviously getting touches. So Redick, and I remember I was listening to our friends of the Ball Fake podcast talk about this. Redick isn't getting the looks he needs. And so going off, they brought up a bunch of teams. They brought up Philly, they brought up Boston. So I'm not gonna mention those names because I don't wanna copy my guys over there. But what I am gonna say is I really like, and I saw this, he prefers the Nets or the Knicks. And the Nets, the fit defensively would be an issue because the Nets' biggest issue is just defense and consistent bench defenders. Also, not a lot of assets left after the Harden deal, but the Knicks actually interest me here. And I know, Joe, you're going to sit here and be like, oh, it's a train wreck, it's a dumpster fire. I don't disagree with you, but they're playing decent basketball at the moment. The problem is they need a bit more spacing right now. Their offense, the whole season has been below the bottom half of like efficiency measures. And Julius Randle's been great, but they don't have a lot of spacing. You throw Redick in there at shooting guard in some lineups, I think he spaces things out. He'll get more looks as well. I mean, look, Randle's ball dominant, but you can have someone next to a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, next to some of their point guards, and maybe as a safety valve for possessions that run dry. It opens up a lot of space for guys like Randle to drive, guys like Quickly to take looks in the paint. So for me, I actually don't mind the fit of JJ Redick in New York. The question is what they're giving up, right? Redick's older, his contract's kind of fat, and also, like, I mean, he doesn't really match up with the Knicks timeline, but I think the Knicks are so desperate to make the playoffs and give their fans anything that they could make this deal for short term.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but if I were the Knicks, I wouldn't even go for that. I mean, I think that would just make the team worse. Because the Knicks, I mean, last year, where were they? 15th in the East?
They were towards the bottom for sure. It might have been 14th, 15th. It was one of those two. The Hawks were right down there with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Knicks, so I automatically assume the 15th. They have a chance at making like the 8th seed for the playoffs this year. Okay, yeah. They haven't been playing terribly. Honestly, they've been playing better than I think anyone's ever expected them to play.
True.
So, and I don't think you want someone. I know you're going to hate this, but I think JJ Redick is kind of washed.
His numbers have not been what they've been in the past.
Yeah, like, I mean, so why would you want someone like that when you should try to go for someone younger who can learn the game? Like, honestly, someone equivalent to someone like Tyrese Halliburton or something like that.
Well, you know? Yeah, I mean, it'd be the dream for the Knicks to get another Tyrese Halliburton. The versatility's off the charts. We're going to make that a weekly at this point.
Calm down. Okay, like, I think JJ Redick, you know, he's starting to become washed. I don't think the Knicks want that. Okay, they need someone young. They need someone who might not be that good right now, but can learn the game.
See,
okay,
I don't disagree with the youth movement in New York. But here are the facts, right? This New York offense.
You're using facts now?
The way it is currently constructed is not producing at an efficient rate, and I don't think it's sustainable for a playoff push. It can maybe be in the play-in tournament, but when intensity gets heightened and you're running into a team like Atlanta that can shoot the lights out on you and maybe can't defend, and your offense is bad, I think you need someone who can stretch the floor out. We've seen how good Quickly is at driving. We have D Rose in there now, and D Rose is a far better slasher than he is a shooter. You need people to open up those lanes for Randle, Rose, Quickly, all them. And I think Redick is in desperate need of a change of scenery. Would he get more looks? That's the big question. I think he potentially could, although adding Rose to the mix maybe doesn't help with that. I just think that they're in a spot where they need someone to open the floor up. And here's the deal, right? Redick, you probably don't have to give up that much for. He's because of the low numerical production, because of the age. I think he might even be on an expiring contract. So I think that it's worth a shot when you're so desperate to make the playoffs and you need somebody that can open the floor up. I think you get Redick at a cheap price, cheaper than you could probably ever get him in the last 5 years. I don't see the issue with that. But I also do agree. I think if you're talking about timeline, he's not going to be in their plans for more than even this year. So I do agree with you on that. It's just that from my perspective, you're trying to make a playoff push. I really see Redick actually being able to help there. And you can talk about whether you think he's washed or not. But, I mean, the fact is the Knicks wouldn't really have to pay that much of a price anyway with the way things are going for him in New Orleans.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to hurt your feelings because JJ's washed. And I know he's your favorite player. And I mean, I tried to get him on the show once for you, as a surprise. He said, "Who the hell are you?" And I'm like, I'm Joe. How are you?
Can we come on your podcast?
Or you come on ours. Okay, but I mean, it would be interesting to see him leave. I I hope he does better if he had more chances to shoot, but I don't think he will.
And I mean,
I
you bring
think
up a valid point with Quickly Randall. I mean, Quickly's a better passer, but Quickly Randall and Rose, when you have lineups with all of them on the floor, things Quickly can shoot a little, but things will be a lot very cramped, and also they might not pass him the ball enough. So you bring up valid points. I think that the thing with Redick is there aren't a lot of perfectly clean fits because of the way he's been playing. Hey y'all, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to see our last video, click here. If you want to see our next video, click here. And if you want to subscribe, click on my face.